the Hour. I'm Joe.
And I'm Serena.
We are here to recap Fantasy Suites, Overnights, Fantasy Suites, Overnights.
Yes, yes. Fantasy Suites and Overnights.
That's right. That's
One and
right.
the same.
What'd you think overall?
I thought it was good. I feel like Fantasy Suites is usually a very juicy episode. I wouldn't say this was that juicy because the physicality of it all kind of stayed out of the picture.
Yeah, because we didn't have Teresa there. Do you remember Gary and Teresa's Fantasy Suites?
I do. That was juicy.
That was awesome.
And she was in like a little romper. Yeah. And she looked so cute. Yeah. And I liked their...
That's when they knew that this show's going to get renewed. We're
when Gary was going around doing all his Fantasy Suites.
Yeah. Like this is good. We got something here.
Yeah. Well, a little less juicy this season, but also totally respectable.
Yeah.
Joan made the decision to not bring the physical intimacy into any of her relationships.
Okay, so we're going to break down the whole episode, but I do want to comment on that up top.
Yeah.
Sure, great. Wonderful, lovely thing to say. But if you're going to do that, in my opinion, just keep it to yourself because it takes away the fun for us.
Of wondering, like, did they get freaky?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like this is like let's not forget, this is still reality TV and I want my reality television to be a little messy. And when you do that up front, like that's essentially what she did was what Zach Shellcross tried to do. And failed.
Immediately failed. Yeah.
He failed at it.
Which was
great.
Yes,
great.
And much more enjoyable as a viewer that he did fail at that task.
And like I totally respect her doing that. And like if I'm the guy that she picks at the end and I watch that, it would make me feel so much more secure.
Mm-hmm.
So I get it. I do get it. And it is probably the right decision. But selfishly as a viewer, I don't need that shit in my world.
Yeah, it's definitely a conversation that could be had in the fantasy suite. Like once the cameras are gone, just being like, hey, before you try to jump my bones, I'm just letting you know that's not going to happen tonight.
Yeah.
Or just like opening the floor to like, where the boundaries are at. But let me speculate. But the thing is that she said it because she didn't want us to speculate. She wanted us to know as viewers that that was her intention.
Calculated, smart move. But like I said. Okay, so where are they?
They're in Tahiti and they are living it up on a cruise ship.
Yep.
Which we haven't seen since Gabby and Rachel's season. This is a little different because they're living on the cruise ship, but they're like going out to land and doing things as well.
Who's first up?
First up, we have a visit from Nancy.
Yeah.
Who we actually are going to be having as our guest this week for an interview. So stay tuned for that. But I love Nancy. I actually forgot how much I love Nancy because we haven't seen her face in a minute.
I keep saying that Nancy is the star of a Nancy Meyers movie.
She is.
And I watch it and I'm like, damn, like I think Joan was a great Golden Bachelorette, but I would have also liked Nancy. I was always like pro Nancy. Like
I agree.
See it being her. I wish she would have had, I feel like she didn't really have a big story when it came to her and Gary. I think it was kind of just like, I don't even really remember it, to be honest.
Her and Gary didn't have much going on in terms of connection.
But I think if they did, she was definitely a contender.
Yeah, like I think if it was a different Golden Bachelor that did have a connection with Nancy, she would have really shined on the season. And she is so beautiful. So if there is a Golden Bachelor in Paradise, would love to see her on it.
I could also see a lot of these guys from Joan's season reaching out to Nancy.
Yeah, there's a lot of golden women that I hope get matched up with the golden men.
Yeah.
We'll see. That's the fun of it.
I know.
I'm waiting for like these like soft launches of the golden relationships. Like what are those even going to look? Do you think they know what a soft launch is? Probably not.
Yeah, I think they got people that'll help. I think their kids will help.
Their kids will help.
Yeah. So, but essentially their conversation was just kind of like, having a friend there to comfort you and be like, you deserve this. You deserve love. You deserve to be in love, which I'm sure helps.
I think so. And what Joan kind of broke down for Nancy, for each guy, her like main thing was Guy is further along than Joan is, which I think we've kind of seen.
Yeah.
I personally think that can be detrimental if it's the girl is further along than the guy is, I feel like that dynamic usually doesn't play out great. But if the guy is further along than the girl is, there's still potential for the girl to catch up in the dating world.
Yeah.
Both on and off the show.
Yeah. Well,
like let's example it between you and I. If I was really into you and you were like, this girl's way more into me than I am into him, I don't think we would have worked out.
Okay.
But if you were more into me, I think we still would have had a chance. Luckily, we were equally into each other, but this is just an example.
Okay, so you're saying there's still a chance.
I'm saying there's still a chance.
Because I was going to say, I think Guy and Chalk are both equally, like, I would say they're both more into Joan than she might be into them.
Yeah, she's keeping her cards close to her chest, for sure. And then she tells Nancy that Pascal reminds her of her late husband, John, which she said multiple times, so we do know that, and that he's the most guarded one. I don't know if I've really have seen him be guarded, but it's definitely been mentioned multiple times.
I think, I don't know if, I mean, well, so spoiler, we see that Pascal leaves.
Yeah, fake spoiler.
Fake spoiler, I guess. Yeah,
happens at the end of the episode.
Seen the episode, but we see that he leaves, and I don't think it. I think the Garda thing is kind of bullshit. I just really think it's the case of like he's just not that into you.
100%, and I think it moved faster than what he was ready for.
Yeah.
But we can break that down more on his one-on-one, and then Chalk, she says he's too good to be true, which I feel like is usually a cop-out that the leads say when they're looking for a problem with a relationship, but there isn't one. Like, I feel like Chalk and Joan haven't really had any actual issues, and she doesn't have any major concerns with him. And I feel like when that's the case, the default is like, is it too good to be true?
Yeah. And I think that's fair at any age, because I could see people being like, well, at Joan's stage in life, like, it's probably unimaginable to find someone who is like checks all the boxes and is absolutely perfect.
Especially when she feel like she had that already. She's probably like, am I really going to find this twice
again?
In my life?
But I mean, maybe, Joan, you're lucky.
I also am just like, you can find a problem with anyone. Let's dig a little deeper. I'm sure we could find a concern here.
Yeah,
let's look for one. I bet you it's there. You can always find a concern with someone that you're dating.
Yeah,
there's never no concern. It's never too good to be true. On paper, emotionally, there's something in the mix that we can stress ourselves out about and spiral about. I
don't know what you're saying right now, but yeah.
Really? You don't know what I'm saying?
No, I'm joking. Never mind.
But do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. Not everyone is.
No one is too good to be true.
Yeah, not everyone's perfect. Like, there's going to be things that you like disagree on or something, or you're like, I can't believe this.
Yeah. Or like, this isn't ideal, and that's my concern.
Yeah.
A few months ago, I was dealing with grow on the outside. Miss a day. See results in 3
In 2017, Two Cousins invites you to witness.
Inspired by the ancient practice of Ayurveda and clinically dosed, providing nutrition. Boat date.
Yeah.
Pretty similar vibe. Line of products by entering happy hour at terraorigin.com. First date we have is Guy. Boat date.
Yeah.
Pretty similar vibes to the hometown. They're on the water. They're on a boat. They do some snorkeling.
Yeah. I'm just trying to like really be like, okay, she's saying everything that Joan's saying is making me feel like she really is enamored and in love with Guy. But when I watch them, something seems to be missing. Right?
Yeah, I agree. It is feeling and looking like he's more into her than she is into him.
It could also just be that she's torn. She's in love with multiple guys, and she doesn't want to
like go all in and hurt someone's feelings.
Yeah.
100%. Like I said, I think she's holding her cards pretty close to her chest across the board with all 3 of these relationships.
Yeah.
And we see that when Pascal leaves, she was more upset than I think I expected her to be.
For sure.
So they seem to have a really fun, nice day.
Yeah.
It was just nice.
It was nice.
There wasn't really anything heavy or dramatic or controversial. It was just a really nice day.
No. And then at the cocktail portion of it, or the dinner portion, she invites him into overnights, but tells him like, hey, but we're not going to be intimate.
Yeah.
But you think they're like at least like making out?
I think they're definitely making out. So
this is a makeout session?
Yeah, I think they're just chatting and kissing.
What do you think the heavy questions are when they get into that room? Like, how do you see this working outside of here?
Yeah.
Probably.
I mean, I think I would love to compare the leads' fantasy suite experiences. Like, I feel like every lead kind of goes in handling it different.
Yeah.
And I think it also depends on like where their feelings are at for that person. And there's like a lot of different factors. But I would assume the conversations are like financial situation. He's working but going to be retiring soon. Like logistically, when is he retiring? They live on opposite sides of the country-ish. How are we making that work?
That's a big problem.
The living.
Opposite sides of the country, 3-hour time change.
Yeah.
Big deal.
Big deal. But I mean, they could also like be bi-coastal. They could do his his Tahoe place for 4 months of the year, and then where's she? She's New Jersey? She's
not New Jersey. I think she is Maryland.
Maryland. Okay.
But every time I see her, I think she's from like Berkeley.
Where's that?
California.
She looks like a California girl.
Yeah.
And then they could do, like the rest of the year in Maryland. Like she seems, from when we've talked to her, she seems open to an unconventional situation where they don't just like pick a place and move in together.
Yeah.
Because I think she is aware that she doesn't want to sacrifice her family, and she doesn't want to force someone to sacrificing their family.
Family's the most important thing to Joan.
Family's the most important thing to Joan. Don't forget it.
Okay, so this date's fine. It ends.
Was there a morning after interview? Did they show them the next morning? Like waking up cuddling? Like, oh, the night was so good.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I was just like, did I like disassociate? Like, what's going on?
Yeah. Leaving this date though, I'm not like I wouldn't be shocked either way. Like if she chose Guy, I wouldn't be like, I can't believe she chose him.
Mm-hmm.
And if she doesn't choose him, like, yeah, I could. That also makes sense.
Yeah, she kind of,
which is probably not a good sign.
No, it's probably not. It's probably not a good sign. But I get what you're saying. Like she's saying all the things that like she should be saying about him at this point. I just don't think like we're really seeing that like emotion there yet.
Yeah.
But I think he's all in on her, and he's very sweet with her, and I like him. I like them together. I think it's great.
Next up, we have Chalk. Now, Chalk, we see Chalk talking to Jesse Palmer, and he's basically like, I'm ready. I'm getting down on one knee.
Oh, yeah.
I love her. Like, Chalk's been all in. I think he's been all in since Disneyland. Truly. Chalk has been all in since the teacups.
I think you're right.
For sure.
I think you're right. Like he's been smitten since day one. And we said it, like he wouldn't have come back after his mom passed if he was not pretty like all in on this girl.
Yeah, which I guess also is, I don't want to use that as like being like, oh, that's an advantage to Chalk, but it definitely, I think that helped Joan be more comfortable with like falling for Chalk, knowing 100%. That like he is really into her.
No, I agree. I think I know what you mean by saying it's an advantage. I mean, the situation of losing his mom was incredibly tragic and sad, but it did strengthen their bond and their relationship, and they were able to like overcome something together, and he was able to lean on her, and that definitely builds a bond. But yeah, Chalk is like kind of the dream in this situation. Guy is feeling this way too, but like Chalk is literally sitting there being like, I am marrying this woman. I'm proposing to her. I am all in. Like he has no hesitation. It's like he doesn't feel like it's too fast. He's like, this is it.
But what do we think Joan, like what are we seeing on this date? What do we think Joan, how do we think Joan feels about him?
I think she feels really good. She, they were ATVing. It was very fun.
She said she feels very safe with him.
She feels safe with him. Joan definitely is looking to live a certain kind of life after this. And she is looking for a partner that also wants to live like an exciting, adventurous life.
Okay, but I do think all three of those guys fit that bill.
I agree. But I admire her for that.
Yeah.
Like she's obviously been very selective through this process because all three of her final three guys kind of fall into that same bracket, right? Where they like are adventurous and they want to travel and they have, the freedom and the means to do so.
Yeah.
But the date goes great. I mean, they're very smitten with each other. Chalk is also just like, he's gushy and he wears his heart on his sleeve. And I think it brings out the emotion of Joan a little bit more than we see with Guy.
Their body language is just it's just there.
Yeah.
It's just much stronger, it seems like.
Yep. The body language does feel stronger.
I feel like, we see Chalk. Yeah, it is. I guess like the word smitten makes sense because like when he's like, you could see Chalk like gazing into her eyes and is just kind of like, I'm in love.
And he's the only one I feel like we really see her like make out with. Like they kind of started like making out a few times.
Yeah. Well, I think they all make out. We just may not see it as much.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. They do fantasy suites.
Let me ask you this, hypothetical. If she is going to choose Chalk or if she is going to choose Guy, do you think she does hook up with them?
I don't think so.
Either do I.
I think that's very possible that it's happened in the past where people are like, nothing happened and nothing's going to happen.
Yeah.
Where things have gone down because like, you'll just never know, And also people have the right to their privacy. We also said that with Zach. We were like, Zach didn't need to come out and be like, we boned.
Yeah.
It happened. Like he could have just kept that to himself. Like there was no mics or cameras. No one would have known.
Yeah. So I think, I
think she's standing by it. I feel like she wouldn't have said it. She's giving like she would, like they're 60. Like who cares? Like if they don't want to do something, they're not going to do it. And if they want to do something, I feel like they're just going to say it and they're going to do it.
Yeah. But I would say after overnight with Chalk and after watching this date, I feel pretty strongly that they're good. Right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. They're in a good place for sure. And they had the cute little morning after.
Yeah. Step into the world of Crumbl, where delicious desserts are packaged in of freshly baked desserts and on the Crumbl app and experience
in their CGMP compliance.
Lily and Tanya Rad. And what do you do when you need a complete closet overhaul? There are interesting finds and even some authentication.
Me too. Yeah. Me too. I was like, oh wow, she like.
There's no doubt in Joan, in Chalk, but I will see then seeing her the Pascal day and. She was way more into Pascal than I. There's no doubt. Like there's no doubt in Joan, in Chalk, but I will see then seeing her the Pascal day and she was way more into Pascal than I thought she was.
Me too. Yeah. Me too. I was like, oh wow, she like. And for a while, I was like, is the only thing that is kind of pulling her to Pascal that feeling of familiarity because he reminds her of her husband. But
or is there anything like Pascal's playing it a little close to his chest? He's playing a little hard to get, and that makes Joan maybe want him a little more because he's the only guy out of these three. Pascal is the only guy kind of like, not sure yet.
Yeah, but he's still like schmoozing her.
That's where it becomes like she gets a little in her head like, is he into me or he isn't? And then it becomes more of a game. And it's like,
it's a little psychological.
Yeah.
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 I know. It's fun. Yeah. It's fun.
It's fun to watch. Thank you, Pascal.
Yeah. I love you, Pascal. But he
definitely was freaked out.
And she says like, I hope that it goes great and that he's going to be meeting my family next week. Like, so she definitely went in with the hopes that I think she was thinking like there was a chance it was going to be him going to next week. And I think that her body language with Pascal is really good.
Serena's talking through her burps.
No, I'm not. I'm not.
Jesus. Go ahead.
No, you've embarrassed me. No, that was kind of it. That was.
Don't worry. I talked through my burps all the
time. I'm not talking through my burps.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, we see him get freaked out. I think for Pascal, he is using a lot of excuses. He's guarded. Now we hear that he was in like this past relationship and it just ended a year ago. But for me watching it, it just really seems like, and he kind of confirms that he's just like not, he says it like, I'm not there.
Yeah.
Like when you're in love, you should feel that spark. He's like a Frenchman. Like I want to like really be swept off my feet, and he's just not getting that.
Yeah. And he even said, you know, the date was a lot of like feelings and emotions, and it felt like ceremonial. And he was like, in his interview, he's like, whoa. Like, I thought we were just going to be playing around, acting like kids. I'm have to talk about my feelings. It's like, Pascal, like you are on The Bachelor. Like you do, like an engagement is right around the corner. Like this can't be fun for forever. But at the same time, I just think that's where his emotions fell with Joan. Like he just liked to have like a flirty, fun relationship with her. And I feel like the date made him realize like, A, he's not ready. But B, I just don't think like he had that like strength of feelings for Joan to where he was in love with her.
To be honest, I'm surprised there wasn't more guys that were like that.
That were like, I like you as a friend?
Yeah, or just I would say unprepared of how fast things move on this show.
I think there was probably a lot of guys that felt that way, but they went home.
Yeah, I guess.
You know?
I guess.
I think everyone, when you go on the show, is a little bit shell shocked by the pace of it.
Yeah, that's why it's always. I guess it's more shocking when you have people like Chalk and Guy who are like,
yeah,
I'm here. I'm ready.
More shocking to me. Like the Chalks and the Dottons of the world that are like week 6. Like I'm so down to propose to this person.
Yeah,
because I feel like I remember getting to hometowns and being like, there's not that much time left here. Like, how did we get here? This moved super fast.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just about being intentional. And I feel like Chalk and Guy are very intentional with their time with her.
How do we feel about Joan's reaction to the breakup?
I think she was more upset than I expected her to be, but I also think it showed how much she cared for Pascal. I do think there was a good chance that it was going to be Chalk and Pascal, had Pascal been able to kind of let down his walls and commit emotionally to the relationship. I mean, he was pretty direct with her. He basically said, I care about you as a friend, but I'm not in love with you, and I need that spark, and I just don't have it with you.
Yeah, no, he was direct.
Yeah.
He was direct. You know, it's romanticized a little bit with the French accent, but if that guy talked like me, that was fucking direct.
Yeah, which honestly I think is like kind of the best way to handle a breakup.
I think it's the best way too, but it's definitely not easy to hear.
Just be cut and dry with me. Just tell me you don't like me and leave me alone.
And no, I don't want to say like Joan has a big ego
No.
I don't think that, but I do think there's something about being the lead, being essentially the star in the like the main attraction of why everyone's there. So I think it's a little shocking in the moment of like, oh wait, you're not into me?
Yeah.
Like what? Like that's not how this works.
I've always wanted a lead because, you know, it happens usually every season someone sends themselves home, you know? And I feel like earlier on it's like easier. It's still hard, but it's easier. But like final 3 on, like that's really, you've gotten deep, you know?
Yeah.
I would love it if Joan was like, I was actually going to send you home. I'm not into you. I don't feel the spark with you. Like They always are so mature about it. I'm like, someone just like freak out and throw it back in their face.
For sure. Yeah, that would have been like if
like Joan, that's what you would have done.
If Joan would have just like
been like, it's actually totally fine because I was going to send you home this week.
If she just like collected her thoughts, kind of just been like, can I have a moment? Walk off, come back like 5 minutes later and be like, Pascal, I just want to let you know that like I just don't see it with us. That would have been unbelievable.
That would have been crazy though, because he just broke up with her.
Yeah, and then he would have been so shocked, and she'd have been like, so unfortunately, I can't take you to overnights, and you have to
No,
go.
that's maniac behavior.
Yeah,
that's
but
not
that's
throwing
great.
it back in his face.
Yeah, that would be great. Like, yeah, unfortunately, it's just not you.
Unfortunately, it's just not you. I'm going to have to send you home.
Yeah.
He's like, well, I just told you I didn't like you.
Oh, man, and if they air both ends of that would be so funny.
That would be funny. Unfortunately, Joan is a little too mature and a little too sane to act that way.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
But yeah, you could tell Pascal felt really badly. I mean, he said, I've hurt her and I feel terrible about that. Honestly, Pascal is giving like diva energy in this moment in the best way. Like he's like shoving cameras, like get these out of my face, like hugging Joan, like shielding her face, like don't look at us, like tucking her away.
I've just
like
broken this woman's heart. Give her a second.
Like give her a second. Like it's just giving like diva energy, and I love it.
Do you know how difficult this is for her?
She's in a fur coat, like they're on a boat, like it's sexy. It was good. It was a really good. It was a good breakup scene. As much as I was sad for Joan, I don't think Pascal was like her one and only. So there's still hope that, you know, she's going to be able to find love with Chuck and Guy. So like we can enjoy the drama of it all.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean that's Pascal's gone, and it's basically
I miss him already.
Yeah, I know. I wouldn't hate.
He's so great.
I wouldn't hate him as the Golden Bachelor. I wouldn't hate it.
Not at all. Not at all. I wouldn't hate it.
Especially if he's going to act like this. Like, great.
100%.
So
we need to bring back a little drama.
Yeah.
This season was so good, but it was very drama free, which, you know, it's a wholesome season with it being golden men and women.
I mean, it's not going to stay like that. You know, first golden Bachelorette. It's gonna
Let's get some people who wanna fight, who wanna shove the cameras out of their face.
Spice it up. Get a Real Housewife in there.
Yeah.
Truly.
Get some more French people, because honestly, Pascal was a treat.
The French version. So Guy or Chuck, who are you thinking? I mean, she seems a little torn up in the trailer. There's going to be tears.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
I mean,
so do
you think she's going to get engaged? Because I feel like she hasn't talked at all about engagement. She's talked a lot about finding someone and falling in love, but I haven't really heard her talk about engagement at all.
Well, if she's going to get engaged, I would think it would be to Chuck, because Chuck is ready for an engagement. And if she doesn't,
Chuck is like calling Neil Lane, being like, bring the rings. I'm getting down on one knee as soon as possible.
We don't know how ready Guy is. And he's, you know, we see
he's all in. I just don't know if he's like
engagement. Yeah. And we've also seen like his, you know, when he had his hometowns, he was they talked about how he was hurt and yada, yada, yada. So he may not be ready to do that. And these guys also still have to meet Joan's family.
Yeah.
I forget that could play a big part. Like, I mean, if the kids have like a big issue with one of the guys.
Yeah. I actually didn't think about that.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Like if they come in, it feels like Chalk is maybe like a step ahead of Guy right now for sure. But if the kids come in and are like, we're not into that dude and we love Guy, that could very well sway things. I mean, you can't like not take your kids into consideration.
Yeah. And we know that Joan does do that.
Yeah. So, she's big on family. Yeah. It's all about family.
Yeah. So that could definitely, definitely be a factor.
Do you think either of these guys could be the next Golden Bachelor?
Chuck.
Yeah? You don't think Guy could be?
No.
I kind of want like promos of Guy in like a white ER coat and like a stethoscope.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see that.
Like,
my
he'll catch it if he makes your heart skip a beat.
My problem with Guy is he's a little hard to read, and
he is harder to read,
and
so is Joan, which is I feel like why we're having a harder time like unpacking their relationship than Chalk and Joan.
Yeah,
Chalk is very easy to read. He's very direct.
Exactly, and I think for the lead, especially The Bachelor, I think you want them to be easy to read, and I think you want to see them fall for multiple people. I don't need you to be, you know, before you step into overnights telling the world that nothing's going to go down and like this is how this is actually
this
working.
Really pissed you off. We can't have a lead that's not going to sleep with
it's not about
anyone.
that. It's not about that. Just don't talk about it. That's it. I just don't want to know. You know, it's a surprise.
Yeah. It's a surprise.
But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening. We'll see what ends up happening with these two at the end.
Yep.
And
we have Men Tell All next week. So be sure to tune into that. All your favorite men reunited. And we're going to have our fun speed dating interview coming out on that in 2 parts. So you guys can stay tuned for that.
And also our Nancy interview. Can't wait to talk to her. And that's it, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to Bachelor Happy Hour.
Be sure to subscribe, and thanks for listening. Bye.